Welcome to the Diaspora Show with me, DJ Kadero. What's going on? What's up? What up? What up? What up? What up? I am your host of the Diaspora Show, DJ Kadero, and it is Thursday. Not just any Thursday, but it's Throw Her Back Thursday. Yeah, Throw Her Back Thursday on July 2nd, 2026. Here is how the Diaspora Show works for those that don't know. First, I give you guys the Diaspora news. That's top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. Then I give you guys words of wisdom through the African proverb of the day. The African proverb of the day can either be words of wisdom through a life lesson or an affirmation. Once that is said and done, I give you guys the best beats, the best vibes, the best melodies, the best rhythms, because I am the best. I'm the baddest Afro DJ in the game. So with that being said, I'm going to give you guys all of that. It's Throw Her Back Thursday, so I'll be throwing back all the Afro jams all morning long. And today we have a specific focus on the country of Uganda. Uganda had great music during the 90s and the early 2000s. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it to you guys, huh? Is that okay, Omera? Omera, is it fine with you that I do that? Well, if it is okay and it is fine, let's stop wasting time. Let's get into the Diaspora news. Come on.
Live from 879 Studios in Omaha, Nebraska. This is Diaspora News with your anchor, DJ Kadero.
That's me. Let's get into it. What's up? Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Diaspora Show. Here on 879, the culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. This is the Diaspora News segment. How are you guys, huh? How's your guys' week been so far? It looks like you guys are getting on top of buildings and proposing to your... I'm gonna propose to my girlfriend. You guys are proposing on top of buildings, huh? You guys are climbing buildings to propose to women. Seriously. Hey. What kind of love is it that you guys are feeling, huh? What is that? You guys need to... Anyways. If you want to get in the conversation with me, DJ Kadero, on this show, or any of our other programs throughout the entire week, go ahead and click on the group chat tab, fourth tab from the left. Follow the process to create a username and password. Again, the group chat tab, it will have you follow a process to create a username and password. Keep the password, but the username will be shown. It's a live chat, so you get to live chat with me on this show and any of our other programs. Like I said, let's go ahead and check out to see who has greeted us in the chat. The real whiskey. Oh, okay. Oh, we got a lot. Lita says, "What up, Kadero?" The real whiskey says, "Rise and shine." And he says, "Kadero, what up? What up, Real Wizkid?" Real Wizkid says, "I'm hyped to hear the news this morning. Let's go. Let's go." Yeah, people. We'll get into what I'm referring to. If you're not in the United States, somebody proposed to their girlfriend on top of a building, and they got arrested for it right away. But anyways, so let's unpack everything that's going on. We got a lot. We got South Africa making the news because of unrest, a geopolitical shakeup in West Africa, and then a highly dramatic, emotional 24 hours, these past 24 hours at the FIFA World Cup. Let's start off in Southern Africa, specifically the South African country named after the region. So, a very volatile situation has exploded over the last 24 hours. Tonight, federal police in South Africa have officially confirmed the arrest of nearly 1,000 people across the country. Again, Police have confirmed the arrest of 1,000 people across South Africa. So let's unpack exactly what's driving the unrest. For several weeks this year of 2026, a coalition of local civil society groups have been mobilizing massive nationwide demonstrations. We call them protests in the United States, but demonstrations everywhere else. These organizers are demanding the immediate mass deportations of documented and undocumented immigrants from other African countries. And this isn't coming from Afrikaners, again, the descendants of the Dutch and the British. No, this is coming from Black South Africans themselves. They want other Black African immigrants to leave. They argue that a rising influx of documented and undocumented workers is straining the public service sector and making it harder for locals to find jobs. However, what has started as organized marches has quickly spiraled out of control. On Tuesday, June 30th was the deadline. Yes. Black South Africans gave a deadline to immigrants saying you need to leave the country by this date or else you might not be leaving or having the health that you came in with. We have two stories for you, two news clips, because we're on the ground. Let's first go to Joy News. In Ghana, they report on a Ghanaian national in South Africa that was shot dead in his tailor shop. Yes, a tailor shop. Let's take a look.
A Ghanaian has been shot dead in Cape Town as xenophobic violence sweeps through parts of South Africa. Well, senior news editor Evan Spencer joins us with the latest. Evans, really, what happened? How did we get here?
So this is a tailor, we understand. He was in a shop yesterday in Cape Town. And the thing about Cape Town is it was looked upon as one of the safest places in terms of the provinces in South Africa because it's a very attractive holiday destination, possibly in many people's books. Just last week, it was voted as a world's most beautiful city because of its very natural, scenic setting. And so you would not think that something like this happens there, but this Ghanaian had gone to his shop. So he had a tailoring shop that he runs. He had gone to a shop and the tags, the xenophobic tags.
These stats from the March and March.
Broke into the shop and they shot him dead. He leaves behind 3 kids, we understand. The eldest is a 10-year-old. And here's the thing, he's been there in South Africa for 20 years. Okay. And has done this work there for quite a while, built a life there, built a family there.
So this is a Ghanaian who was documented.
Yeah, as far as the High Commission is concerned, this is a Ghanaian who's documented. He's been there for 20 years and has 3 kids. They're now dealing with the South African authorities and, of course, his family back home to repatriate the body. But this happened, from what we understand, on the back of the protest that we saw yesterday, the deadline that was issued for all African migrants to leave. They call them undocumented. But as you've seen now, they're not making that distinction when they attack you. And unfortunately, we've suffered the first fatality. This is not the first African country. We're not the first African country to suffer fatality. I mean, we had stories before Nigerians being murdered in South Africa, and Mozambicans were also murdered. The last time we spoke to the South African foreign affairs minister, who spoke exclusively to us on the Super Morning Show, he disputed the figures had been reported widely by international media. 5 Mozambicans, he says 2 of them. But we can report authoritatively now 1 Ghanaian was shot yesterday and is now passed.
And any arrests so far? Has the authorities officially told us anything about this?
That we don't know yet. I believe what is happening right now from the information we have from our sources within the Ghana High Commission in Pretoria, South Africa, is that they're working with the South African authorities to investigate what happened. The thing about the protest yesterday was that there were thousands of police officers deployed to ensure that there's intent violent. But in spite of that, from the visuals that we saw, they were looting yesterday. People were still beating when they saw you and they questioned your nationality and you come from an African country. The police sometimes were successful in dealing with some. In this case, they woefully failed, right, to deal with that. Criminals obviously joined the protest and to use it for their own, serve their own purposes. And a Ghanaian, unfortunately, was caught up in that, has been shot.
Do we know if the Ghanaian...
Once again, if you're just tuning in, I'm DJ Kadero, your anchor on the Diaspora News on the Diaspora Show on 87.9 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. It is Thursday, Throw Her Back Thursday on July 2nd, 2026. We're getting into our top stories on the Diaspora News. Our first story is the update. Things have escalated in South Africa since the anti-immigrant protests have began on Tuesday, June 30th. A Ghanaian man, after spending 20 years in South Africa, was shot dead in his tailor shop. Hey. Hey. Other countries, not just Ghana, has taken started taking their nationals back as these anti-immigrant xenophobic protests began, but also Kenya as well. We go on the ground in Kenya, where 26 Kenyans flew home as the anti-immigration protests in South Africa kicked off. Let's take a listen.
As South Africa erupted in nationwide anti-immigrant protest Tuesday, reigniting fears of xenophobic violence, Kenya intensified efforts to bring its citizens home from the unfolding crisis. Principal Secretary for Diaspora Affairs, Rosalind Njogu, has confirmed that 26 Kenyans have already been repatriated after seeking government assistance, while more than 200 others have appealed for evacuation and dozens more are expected back home in the coming hours. And TV's Ashley Atieno tells us more.
By Tuesday morning, South Africa's long-awaited June 30th deadline had arrived. From Johannesburg to Durban, thousands poured into the streets in nationwide anti-immigrant demonstrations led by pressure group March in March, demanding that undocumented foreigners leave the country. They sang, they danced, some carried sticks and shields. For many South Africans, it was a demonstration, but for thousands of migrants, it was a day of fear and uncertainty. Businesses shut their doors. Many foreign nationals stayed away from work amid fears the protests could descend into the kind of xenophobic violence that has repeatedly scarred South Africa. For Kenya, those fears had already triggered an emergency evacuation. 26 Kenyans arrived at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Tuesday morning, becoming the first group repatriated after appealing for government assistance. The evacuation exercise followed an emergency appeal issued last Friday, with more than 200 Kenyans registering for evacuation as anti-immigrant tensions escalated ahead of the June 30th protests.
Are expecting a group of 63 Kenyans to arrive a little bit later tonight and another group to arrive tomorrow. At our Kenya High Commission now in Pretoria, we have a group of more than 100 Kenyans who are taking shelter at the Kenya High Commission in Pretoria.
The government has also sought to reassure Kenyans that the majority of the more than 27,000 Kenyans living in South Africa remain safe and are in the country legally.
It is difficult for us to say from Nairobi what will happen in another country. But what we have extended is sanctuary for Kenyans who want to be at the Kenya High Commission in Pretoria. And as I said, we have seen hundreds over the last 2-3 days. About 200 of them have entered the Kenya High Commission for sanctuary, and they have been protected, and they have been taken to the airport for evacuation.
Once again, if you're just joining in, I'm DJ Kadero, your anchor on the Diaspora News on the Diaspora Show on 87.9 The Culture. It's Thursday, Throw Her Back Thursday on July 2nd, 2026. We're getting into our top stories on the Diaspora News segment of the Diaspora Show. Our first story is the escalation since the anti-immigration protests kicked off in South Africa on Tuesday, June 30th. That news clip that you were hearing was the news clip of 26 Kenyans flown home as South African anti-immigration protests escalate. Again, police in South Africa have confirmed that Nearly 1,000 arrests have been made, and a Ghanaian man was shot dead in Cape Town in his tailored shop. So you're probably wondering, what is going on? What's motivating people to join these protests? Let's go on the ground and hear exactly from the people of South Africa. Again, Black South Africans, not the Afrikaners, the descendants of the Dutch and the British, but Black South Africans themselves, why they chose to be a part of such an interesting movement.
The demonstrations in many parts of the country were called by an organization known as March and March. Thousands of people converged to protest. The demand is that all undocumented or illegal foreigners leave the country. The demonstrations have been a manifestation of the anger among some locals who see foreigners as competitors for economic opportunities and state services.
I'm asking them please to go back to their countries. Enough is enough. I am tired. Go.
We are here to demand from President Cyril Ramaphosa to give us an answer about what is he doing about the issue of illegal foreign nationals in our country. We want them to go to bring back our country.
The position is that everyone must be in a country legally. You have to have your identity recorded in any country. For us, as a country, to know who is who in the zoo, we need everyone documented. Those that are not documented, they must go out and come back in a proper way.
While there were fears of violent breakouts, police say only a number of people were arrested for sporadic incidents.
Thousands of immigrants have already been repatriated to their respective countries. Some say they will take this opportunity to go home, sort out their immigration documents, and come back to South Africa, while some have decided this is an opportunity to just go home.
South African police say at least 25,000 people have been repatriated so far. Most are from other African countries. Immigrants such as Hawa Hassan from Malawi.
Hey, you guys heard that. Once again, I'm DJ Kadero, your anchor on the Diaspora News on the Diaspora Show on 87.9 The Culture. We are still on our first story here, breaking down the top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. Our first story is still dealing with the escalation of the anti-immigration protests across South Africa. Again, you heard African nations have repatriated altogether about 25,000 people from South Africa prior to June 30th's anti-immigration deadline. And it wasn't the government. It was local civil groups that gave foreigners in South Africa, if you can call them foreigners, June 30th, a deadline. So you're probably wondering, what did the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, what did he say? What has he said about the June 30th anti-immigration protests? Well, let's take a listen. He was in India. Yes, he wasn't even in the country. Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, wasn't even in the country. He was in India, and he was questioned on the protest itself. Let's take a listen to the South African president. Again, not in his country during when these embarrassing protests took place.
Were you disappointed in South Africa?
No. I mean, our people exercise their right to protest, which is enshrined in our constitution, and we must applaud that. For the most part, the protests, the marches were quite peaceful. Only a very few incidents. It could have been much worse. And I was very pleased that we were able to hold extensive consultations with a number of people.
That was South African President Cyril Ramaphosa out of the country, giving his thoughts and saying that he actually praised the protests, anti-immigrant protests on June 30th in his country, saying that they were peaceful, that most abided by the law. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this first story again. The government is stepping in, they say, but tonight extra police units and military personnel are patrolling highly vulnerable neighborhoods to keep the peace. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that first story again. South African protests for immigrants wanting them to leave the country have escalated. In the chat, the real WizKid says it wasn't a building, though, in reference to my statement earlier saying that after the music break, I'm going to give you guys a breakdown on what happened in the United States. People are proposing to their girlfriends on top of buildings. He says that it was a certain building. I won't say it here on air. He says, let's make it clear for our global viewers. Don't worry, the real WizKid. We gonna let them know on what building it was, huh? We're gonna let them know. All right, let's get into our second story on the Diaspora News. So, going to West Africa, a political divorce is sending shockwaves through the global legal circles. The ICC, known as the International Criminal Court in Holland, has expressed grave concern following a massive exit by 3 major African nations. Those African nations that have filed to leave the ICC are Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And they have severed ties officially and withdrawn completely from the International Court. To understand why this is such a monumental shift, we have to look at the ongoing political reality in the Sahel region. That's the region that's below the Sahara, but right above every other African country. So all 3 of these countries are currently governed by military leadership. These leaders have grown increasingly vocal about how international law operates. In a joint statement, they completely dismissed the ICC, labeling the ICC as a heavily biased political weapon. Again, they said, hey, ICC, they not twin, and we not locked in, huh? Those 3 African countries argue that the court is used by wealthy Western powers to bully and selectively prosecute African leaders while completely turning a blind eye to crimes committed by Western nations. Woo. Talk about standing on business. On the other side, representatives from the ICC say that this sudden departure is a terrible setback for international justice. They worry that it leaves everyday citizens in the conflict-heavy Sahel region without a global safety net for human rights accountability. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are not the only countries to exit from the ICC court. The Philippines and Burundi did it during the 2010s decade. For more on this whole escalation and the war of words between the 3 African countries and the ICC, we go on the ground. Let's take a listen.
The International Criminal Court has voiced concern over the withdrawal of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, saying it undermines the global pursuit of justice.
Children, including
the Hague-based ICC prosecutes individuals for war crimes and crimes against humanity. The 3 military-led West African states pulled out of the court last year, calling it an instrument of neo-colonial repression in the hands of imperialism. The former ECOWAS members founded the Alliance of Sahel States in 2024. The ICC's Assembly of State Parties, which represents the countries that make up the court, said it regretted their departure. Countries leaving the court risks undermining the collective pursuit of justice and weakening global efforts to end impunity, the body said in a statement on Wednesday. 125 countries are currently members of the court, but several major powers, including China, India, Russia, the US and Israel, haven't joined.
Day in the Once again, if you're just tuning in, I am DJ Kadero, your anchor here on the Diaspora News, on the Diaspora Show on 87.9 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. So we're getting into our second story here on Thursday, Throw Her Back Thursday on July 2nd, 2026. The ICC, known as the International Criminal Court, have given their remarks regarding 3 African nations, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, leaving the International Criminal Court altogether. Love it or hate it, this move makes one thing crystal clear. West African nations are actively cutting ties with traditional Western-backed bodies like the ICC. They are drawing a line in the sand and choosing a completely independent path. Just to note, there were countries initially when the ICC was formed back in 2002. Again, 2002 was when the ICC officially formed. And there were countries that never joined it in the first place. Those countries are Israel, your guys' friends in Tel Aviv. The United States, yeah, your guys' friends, you guys, Cash Patel and Cash App Patel and Pete Hegseth. Pete, Cash App, what's going on, man? Come to 879 The Culture, man. I heard you guys like drinks, huh? We got a lot of drinks here, huh?
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Russia and China as well have never joined the ICC. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this second story. Again, the ICC giving a warning to African nations saying, oh, you guys are keeping people away from human rights. Yeah, okay. All right, let's get into our third and last story before we go into our music break. Well, as you guys know, if you guys listen daily, the FIFA World Cup is upon us. It's here. And it's been an emotional roller coaster, especially yesterday. Yesterday was a day of pure heartbreak for African football, soccer fans, because trauma took place. Devastating late game collapses. Let's talk about the nail biter between Senegal and Belgium. So yesterday, Senegal and Belgium. Senegal played their hearts out, matching Belgium's stride for stride. The match went all the way into the final moments of extra time. Tied at 2-2, just as we were bracing ourselves for a penalty shootout, a highly controversial VAR review, meaning like a replay, you know, when the refs go to the video and watch a play over, they awarded Belgium a penalty kick in stoppage time. And the Belgian captain shot it home, ending Senegal's World Cup run with a crushing 3-2 defeat. Social media is still furious about that referee call. And the heartbreak didn't stop there. Oh no. DRC, known as the Democratic Republic of Congo, played England, and they came incredibly close to pulling off an upset in the tournament. The Congolese squad had England completely on the ropes early on. They actually led 1-0 for most of the game, believe it or not, and the golden opportunity to double their lead in the first half. But giving a team like England second chances is a mistake, and English striker Harry Kane punished DRC by scoring 2 brutal goals to seal a 2-1 loss for DR Congo, sending Congo back home. South Africa fell 1-0 to Canada. Yes. But Morocco actually beat the Netherlands. So far it's just Morocco as far as Africa that are into the next round. So the round of 32 teams, known as the knockout stage, continues today. All eyes are on Nigeria, or excuse me. Nigeria didn't qualify, so sorry, guys.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
All eyes are on Algeria. Excuse me. Algeria, Nigeria, prudent slip. Algeria and are you guys hearing this? Cape Verde. Huh? I know. Algeria and Cape Verde play today. Let's go ahead and let's get you guys familiar with the times. As far as today's games go, Spain and Austria play at 2 p.m. Portugal and Croatia play at 6 p.m. And then Algeria and Switzerland play the late last game at 10 p.m. So Spain and Austria at 2 p.m., Portugal, Croatia at 6 p.m., and then Algeria and Switzerland. as far as today's games to watch on the African side. And then tomorrow, are you guys ready for tomorrow? Are you guys ready? Huh? Tomorrow, Egypt will take on Australia at 1 p.m. And then Cape Verde or Cabo Verde will take on Argentina. That's Messi's team. Huh? So we're going to be cheering hard for Cabo Verde. And then Colombia and Ghana will play each other at 8:30 p.m. Friday night. Huh? Woo! So if you don't have anything to do, you just want to wait for the pre-fireworks, because in America they're celebrating 250 years, huh? of being the world's police. 250 years of being the world's headache, huh? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that third and final story. How about this, guys? We're going to take a music break to soothe some of these deep, hard-hitting stories, especially that first one. A Ghanaian man had his life taken in South Africa, in Cape Town, again, known as one of the safest cities in South Africa. A tailor, he was shot in his own business and passed away from the shooting because of these anti-immigrant protests and anti-immigrant rhetoric and atmosphere. But also the soccer heartaches, again, Senegal and DRC Congo losing in a terrible, terrible way yesterday. Let's take a music break to catch your guys' breaths. When we get back, I'll have a beautiful, simple African proverb for the day. Let's go ahead and charge your guys' spirit and for the rest of this week. We want to hear from you, though, huh? How about this? Because pretty soon we'll have an in-studio telephone. That way you guys can call in, huh? I'm sure many of you guys will, huh? Because I encourage you guys to do bad things. I'm sure many of you guys will try to do prank calls. But don't worry. Don't worry. I got a contingency plan just for that, huh? But in the meantime, use the chat. There's a live chat, huh? Hit the group chat tab. Follow the process for a username and password. And that way you can give your feelings on the World Cup results, the World Cup so far, or maybe your thoughts about any of those other two stories on the Diaspora News. I'm DJ Kadero. This has been the Diaspora News on the Diaspora Show on 879 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. It is a Throw Her Back Thursday on July 2nd, 2026. We'll be right back. This is a music break from a throwback from the country of Uganda, an awesome artist known as Jose Chameleon. And this song title is called Valu Valu. Huh? Valu Valu. It's a jam. You play this around Ugandans, especially Ugandans that are older Gen Z, older millennials, especially Gen X. You might get a free beer. You might get a free waragi. Huh? C'est bon. I'm DJ Kadero. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's been a long